these practices, you know, you want to say, and we've had this argument in the past, you want to say that comic books are worth more than what we price them at. Joe Quesada has always given the argument, the reason people don't like to pay so much for comics is because we've been devaluing them for years and years and years.
Well, you know how you devalue comics? When you put no new material in them.
Yeah, when you just keep reprinting crap over and over again, and you make people feel like they're getting gypped out of their money, when they feel like they're not getting the value for their dollar. And these practices right now, the way they're able to rationalize these things at Marvel are just getting incredibly frustrating. It's incredibly frustrating because we thought we had seen the last of it. We thought that they had been looking across the aisle, looking at DC, doing their backup features, keeping costs down, being fair with their prices. Oh, yeah. Do you know that Dan DiDio has stated that once the backup features in the books are done, the prices of books are going to go back down to $2.99? No, they're not going to be $3.99
Actually,
anymore?
I think Locus Mortis actually sent us a quote on our blog. I think one of the books is going to keep the backup feature, but it is also going to drop down to $2.99.
So, if they can do that, now mind you, if it doesn't happen, we'll be ready to call bullshit.
Right.
If that's what happens. But if it doesn't, if that does happen, will Marvel follow step with that? Or are they going to continue in their own little way of, doing business the way they do? Which, I'm sorry, is a shady practice. I'm calling bullshit. I know that's not good. It's shady. When you put this stuff in the back of the book and you charge people for it, that's dishonest. That's wrong. I know you paid somebody to write that. I know this was something that you said you can justify because you're getting people caught up because it's a jumping on point. You know what? If you want to give people value, you don't charge them for it.
Well, and they've done this before whenever there's a jumping on point. They always thought, when Rick Remender came out of Punisher, with issue number 6, they did the exact same thing where they stuck a bunch of sketches and a bunch of stuff in the back. But that's the thing. Here's a new jumping on point. Here's where Marvel is going to get, hopefully, a boost of new fans in there. But they're going to charge those people. They're going to try to make that. They're going to nickel and dime you.
Right.
They're going to see They're going to see I can't think of the word. Sorry. They see an opportunity for the sales to go up, and they're going to make the most out of that opportunity by charging people extra.
Right. And it's come to, it's just come to light more and more. That seems to be more the process at Marvel Comics. The bottom line, how can we boost the bottom line? Came out recently in a interview with Joe Quesada and Comic Book Resources, right? On the Cup of Joe. So if you go to Comic Book Resources, Kyle Figley does a great job doing that with Jonah Weiland over at CBR. They talk to Joe Quesada every week, and he answers a bunch of questions. And Joe Quesada gives his sometimes witty answers and blase. I wish they would do it more like more podcast, because I think when you write it, I think there might be something missing in how he says things. Maybe there's a certain inflection in the tone of voice that I'm not getting. Because a lot of times when he says things, it comes across I don't think it comes across the way he wants it to. Because the whole issue of event fatigue and people getting tired of events, he puts the blame just as much on DC as on Marvel. Oh, well.
But there's between the two of them, there's only been one company that's pretty much had event after event after event for 7 straight years. And I like the fact that, like, after the Siege now, he's like, fans are a little fatigued with events. We're going to give it a break after. It just so happens that they finally they were going to do the break anyway. But this is why. They're doing it for the fans. I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think that this fucking 7-year Bendis bullshit story is finally, they see a light at the end of the tunnel, and now they're going to give you a break, the fans. Yeah. This is why they're ending it here. But then when they go and they blame DC for event fatigue, it's like they are putting DC. What was the last one? Final Crisis.
Final Crisis, and then
you had Crisis.
But then you had 52. But then even 52 wasn't. You didn't have to read everything else.
Exactly.
52. And
I think DC does probably one big event like every 2 years, maybe.
Yeah. And on top of that, he comes out and he says, and he admits, he goes, if you could have a story that, I mean, I know I'm not quoting this directly, I'm not verbatim, but it goes, you could have a story that's not the best thing, but I guarantee you dollars to donuts that if it's part of an event, it's going to sell more.
Mm-hmm.
So he's admitting that you can put out a crappy story and sell a crappy story. And don't tell me that does not come into the rationale with all those friggin' Dark Reign, the list books, which we said, what was the purpose behind these? The purpose was to sell more books. Was it because it was a story that had to be told or whatever? No, it was just to sell more books, to boost the bottom line. Had nothing to do with the artistic integrity of any of the series, So it's back to this total, we've had this whole thing, art versus commerce argument before, but it's just getting really blatant right now. It's blatant right now that Marvel is pushing everything towards the bottom line.
And one of the great things was that Joker said, I was like, if fans didn't have such event fatigue, Blackest Night would probably be selling better.
Oh yeah, no,
dismisses the fact that Blackest Night has been a #1 book for 3 months, and about how in October the top 6 books were all Blackest Night books. He dismisses that completely, and he's like, if Marvel,
who's to say it wouldn't have sold 3 times that?
If fans didn't have Marvel, and he puts the blame on DC just as much as Marvel because of event fatigue. But then he goes and dismisses out of hand that Blackest Night, it would have sold more if DC didn't do all of the other events before Blackest Night.
Yeah, so.
But then, and at the same time, he's saying this, but then in January, you have The Siege, all right? That's going through a bunch of books. You have Fall of the Hulks, which is another event. You have the Necrosha, which is another event going in the X-Men books. Yeah. They have 3 events going on at the same time.
Yeah.
You know how many events are going on right now in DC? 1, Blackest Night.
That's it.
But to dismiss that out of hand, to say they're not going to do it, and then to just continue to do it,
I don't know. It's just maddening. It's really maddening. And you know what? We're not chumps, guys. Yeah, I know I'm not being very politically
I like
correct.
you probably use that word because in the blog, that's exactly what I felt like after buying this. I felt like a fucking chump because I paid an extra $1 for shit that I didn't want. And I should have known better.
I love comics, and I love to be a part of them, and I understand that there are realities to business, and I understand that you have to make money doing it, but
when there's more comic businesses out there like DC and Dark Horse, and they can keep the prices down across the board, and Marvel's the one that's pissing or just making excuses about why, and then they're just still nickel and diming you for shit.
Yeah,
it makes one. It's getting to the point where people are just kind of, they know what's going on now, and I think that has a lot to do with what we were talking about last time. With out of the top 6 books in October, 1 of them was $3.99. I think people are fed up with $3.99 books in general without getting anything extra in them.
And there's a big difference. I'm sorry, there's a huge difference between Marvel charging $3.99 for this book and Boom Studios charging $3.50 for one of their books. They're a smaller publisher.
$3.99.
Is it $3.99?
Most of them are $3.99.
Oh, $3.99. There's a big difference there. They're a smaller publisher. They don't have near the financial resources that Marvel does. They don't have near the income revenue. They don't. Marvel Comics is. Listen, guys. Marvel Comics is a multi-million, dare I say, a billion.
They're the #1 publisher in the industry.
$1 billion comic book publisher. They're selling licenses throughout the friggin' world, okay? It's not like these guys are, like, trying to, not like in the old days when you were pinching pennies here and there to make a buck and make it from week to week.
Did you read that thing on CBR about the big payday that all of the Marvel execs are going to get once this Disney thing goes through? Like how much money they're going to be making?
No, I didn't read that, but I mean does not come as a surprise. The thing to understand is that as a consumer, you have to be smart and you have to be ready to call bullshit. And don't get mad at the people who call bullshit.
Yeah, you know what? I would have liked to have not have talked about this ever again, but we have been talking about this almost for 2 years now.
2 years, yeah. Since
and I think we're the only people who are really
no one else ever
it.
Talks about this, but which is fine. I don't mind.
But it's been 2 years now.
Yeah.
It's like, enough's enough.
Yeah.
And the reason and you could easily say, like, well, if you guys don't want to talk about it, don't talk about it. But this is kind of important because if no one talks about it, Marvel keeps on doing it and keep getting away with it. No one questions anything. And
But if you don't love Marvel, why don't you say some terrible things about it? You just love DC.
Hey, you know what? Go back to watching 6 months ago when almost every last rant was me bitching about Dan DiDio. So, I mean, it's equal.
Oh, we piss him off. And we praise, too. We praise when it warrants it, and we call bullshit when it warrants it. We don't come in with an axe to grind or any preconceived notions. We just calls it as we see it.
We just want the industry to be better.
We want people to enjoy their
there's
comics.
Small things that some companies could be doing to make things easier for everybody.
So, Joe, can I ask you something? Will you kiss me? Please, Joe Quesada, will you kiss me? Because I prefer getting kissed before I'm fucked. I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Really?
Anything else?
I can't top that.
As always, we look forward to your comments, your feedback. Check us out. We read every comment. Check us out on the CCW TV blog. You will find the link to it right there, up in the corner or below if you're watching on the main page. And we want to see your comments. We have a contest coming up where with the contest, this will be at the end of the year, you will be able to win an entire set of Green Lantern rings, all the different colors.
Yeah, and all the tie-ins.
And all the tie-in books.
Actually, Blackest Night number 5 came with the Green Lantern ring, and since most of you already have Blackest Night, I'm going to replace that one with the Teen Titans that came out this week with Deathstroke. That was a tie-in, but I'm going to replace that for Blackest Night, so it's actually a tie-in book, so it might not have been something that you bought.
So you'll get all a bunch of tie-ins and the complete set. That will go to one lucky viewer in our contest. But if you want to learn about the contest, you'll have to check out the blog. It will not be announced here on the channel. You got to go to the blog, and I think I have an idea for a contest.
Well, don't say it on here.
No, I'm not going to say it. I will say it on the blog, but I think I have an idea. It's going to be fun. So until next time, this has been Elliot and Jose coming to you from Dreamland Comics in Schaumburg, Illinois. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.